Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of An Englishman, an Irishman, and a Load of Bollocks. And this is a very special podcast this evening because we have got some really exciting news, actually, and some really positive news, actually. So over to you, Paul.
I've won the lotto. Yeah, me and Dave have both won the Euro Millions. That's the news.
So
Yeah,
that's the end of the podcast, isn't it? So it was nice. It was nice knowing you all, but
yeah,
we're okay now. Me and Paul are going to just walk
yeah,
off into the sunset. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
No, so
I
Paul, what tell us what's happened? You've had some really good news, haven't you?
I suppose it sounds corny, but yeah, I suppose I've won the lotto 5 times. I suppose in the last 8 years. But yeah, myself and Lisa, we've had a baby, a little girl called Kate. So that was yesterday morning. So I suppose both mammy and baby they're doing great, they're doing grand. And Lisa, the mammy, she had a C-section. She won't mind me saying that. So she's obviously still in a bit of physical pain, but she's doing great. She's quite a steely, determined woman, you know. Lisa, I suppose, won't mind me saying this. Like, she's still relatively young. She's in her early 30s. But I would say, Dave, and you've met her briefly, like she's of the old, I would say, of the old stock, like a blast from the past of kind of what Irish women would have been, should be, which is, she never complains. She gets on with it.
Yeah.
And her focus of attention is primary on little Kate, and her needs are secondary. So she's basically what I'm saying. She's very selfless, and that's that. I've always loved that about Lisa. But yeah, thanks for the lovely introduction. Yeah, it's a lovely time. It's a wonderfully joyous time, isn't it? A special time for us. It's new life, isn't it, Dave? It's a new heartbeat into the world, and it's baby number 5. So baby number 5, 5 babies under 8. But sure, look, we wouldn't have it any other way. But look, my other kids are buzzing. They're buzzing around like little bees, and they're excited to see Kate, to welcome her home. And they're actually still up at the moment, so they're in that holiday mode. So look, why not? But yeah, it's a lovely. I think I was saying to you off camera, it's kind of a lovely. Even though I've been here 5 times before, it's like that. The way like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, you still get that lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling that this is not your usual day. It's a special day, and it's kind of that walking on air feeling. And it's, look, as I said, with a new baby, I suppose, everyone else is living their lives, and I'm probably getting a bit maudlin and a bit sentimental, and you question your priorities and your purpose in life. But look, the main thing is little Kate is coming into a home full of life and full of love, and sure, look, that's half the battle. And as I said, the 5-a-side team is now complete, Dave. She's gonna, as I said to you, she's gonna slot into central midfield. I think she's gonna be the new playmaker in the house. But yeah, look, it's she's gonna be a Xavi or Iniesta. Yeah, look, as I said, look, new life. It's a blessing, and me and Lisa do count our blessings. We're very grateful, and I think we've said this before on numerous podcasts. Family is the glue for everything. It's social cohesion and all that. It is, isn't it? But look, one last thing, Dave. Like I have to say, the care Lisa's got in Mullingar in the hospital has been absolutely top notch. The nurses have been great, the midwives have been great, the doctors have been great. Really attentive, I have to say, and maybe that's because it's a regional hospital. It's not hectic. It's not. I think there's only one other lady in the room with her, so there's a nice calmness, and she's getting the full which it should be, one-on-one nursing care. However, Dave, there is one negative. There's actually just 2 negatives I have to say about the maternity ward she's in. I'm disappointed that there's no male midwives on the ward, and I'm even more disappointed, Dave, that there's no men on the maternity ward giving birth to babies. I mean, I thought that was the thing.
Yeah. I like the twist on that then, Paul. So I just want to say to everyone. So first of all, anyone listening to the podcast, I need to qualify that me and Paul, unfortunately, haven't won the lottery, have we, Paul? We're not going to be running off into the sunset, are we, with €1 million in our back pocket? But I think what's happened for you today is worth so much more than that. I was in work today. obviously I was in work yesterday as well when you told me the great news, and we were speaking today. I could just hear the joy in your voice, and and
Yeah.
the absolute kind of yeah, just utter. That's the word, joy, really, that comes across, and you seem really happy. And the way you're talking about how the kids are as well, it's like
Yeah.
Christmas or like the holiday season, and it's just a different dynamic, different energy, and I guess that's that new sense of something pure and innocent coming into the world at this time in which we live, which is so difficult and challenging. And let's this is our podcast, Paul. We don't beat about the bush. It's a
Yeah.
difficult and challenging, but it's a very dark world in many ways as well. And we don't we don't hesitate to delve into the darkness in this world, but that's not what this
Yeah.
podcast is about. And I think we were
No.
talking about today, weren't we, how we wanted to celebrate new life, we wanted to celebrate innocence,
Yeah.
we wanted to celebrate purity, and we wanted to celebrate life itself. So I'm absolutely ecstatic for you. I'm absolutely made up for you. I can hear the joy in your voice. And
Thanks.
I just think it's absolutely incredible. And for anyone who's listening today, we thought that we would make the theme of this podcast all of those things that Paul's already
Yeah.
talked about and what I've just mentioned there, because there's so many podcasts out there that are tackling the real darkness and we can use
Yeah.
the word sinister, the evil and the the
Yeah.
negativity and all that, but there's so much to be good, so much good things and so much to be celebrated, and we can actually have a lot of confidence as well going forward, you know. And Paul, one thing I want to say to you, one of the reasons why I feel confident going forward in this very difficult and challenging times is that I know that there are many parents, such as yourselves and Lisa, who are bringing children into this world, and in a way that is in a nurturing environment, in a way that's very challenging in the right way, to celebrate things like innocence and keep children as innocent as possible for as long as possible, and to encourage and to cajole and to open their minds and to foster a spirit of community and conversation and all these things that I think are very important, and I know you agree with me are as well. So now baby Kate's arrived, and she is the fifth member of the legendary five-a-side team now that is now complete.
Yeah. The
So
Magnificent Seven.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Lisa's still there in hospital, and I know she's suffering. She's going to be suffering a bit
Yeah.
of pain, but she'll
Yeah.
bounce back very quick, won't she? But I just wanted to, just like taking all that to as the context of this podcast, and now baby
Yeah.
Kate's arrived. Like, you must feel so kind of proud. You must feel so full of the joys of life, Paul.
And and lovely, kind words there. And yeah, we're just trying to raise a family in 2023 as best as we can, and yeah, it can underpinned by keeping it simple, just basic values, morals, and principles. And basic values, morals, and principles have went out the window. But funnily enough, actually, which is quite apt, maybe that, and I actually forgot about it as I was cleaning one of the rooms, just to get the house ready before Lisa and Kate come home. I found a sign that I put up in the village during the dark days of COVID outside the school. I quietly put it up. And it was when this local school was pushing the mask mandate. And the sign, it's a famous quote, but the sign reads, it's a famous quote: "If you leave your children a world where you never stood up, they'll inherit a world where they can't." So
Yeah.
that was it was kind of a good reminder to me about the importance of our role as fathers, our role as mothers, and our dual role of parenthood. But I was only kind of thinking as well, like even with Lisa, because sometimes the focus sometimes does be on the baby. But I was only thinking, like, after the C-section, and I think I sent you a picture of the plaque that was in the suite that I was. So basically, after the C-section, Lisa was in recovery, and because they were understaffed, normally the baby goes with the mother, just obviously for skin to skin. But anyway, I was with Kate alone in a suite called Danu, Danu. Anyway, I was just quietly there, and it was a nice bit of peace and quiet, and just a nice moment with Kate. Literally only a half an hour after she was born. But there was a lovely plaque in the room, and I might read it out, Dave, if that's okay.
Of course, it's okay, Paul. Yeah, absolutely.
So
We'd love you to read it out. Go for it.
uh, I think I sent it to you, but I'll read it out. So it's the Danu, Danu suite. So in Irish mythology, Danu or Danu was a great Celtic goddess and was considered the great mother of Ireland and the Irish people, the Tuatha De Danann. Her name represents knowledge, wisdom, nurture, strength, and abundance. We chose Danu as a symbol for this space as she reminds us how strong women are. She empowers us to create our own destiny, realize our own dreams, and represents the great strength of women and mothers as they embrace on the wonderful journey of motherhood. I just thought that was lovely to see
Yeah,
in a hospital, in this day and age, with all the absurdity that we see and pushed narratives in hospitals, something related to our culture. And I thought it was very poignant. And maybe on a slight negative, I did notice in the hospital that there was less religious crosses and statues in the hospital as previous years. So in
yeah.
many ways, that erosion is sadly happening.
You
Where
can see it.
religious, you can see it. But
Yeah,
look, as I was looking at that plaque, I was kind of thinking that I'm lucky, I suppose. I have my own, Lisa will smile at this, my own modern day goddess in Lisa in my life, and I'm lucky I have a strong mother. I'm lucky I have strong sisters who, as I said before, have those values, morals, and principles. And look, in the last few years, Dave, and I'm sure you've seen the UK, I have seen plenty of women in Ireland, Irish women, who are void, who have no principles, values, and morals. And I know I always harp back to it, but women, and there was plenty of them in 2018, May 2018, plenty of Irish women cheering hysterically, like hyenas, in Dublin Castle after voting to kill the unborn baby. Women
yeah.
who despise human life, who despise babies. They can't even call it a bloody baby. Women who hate the family unit. They probably hate people like me and Lisa. And selfishism is their only bloody religion. Even Irish TV is full of women who are fake and they're, what would I say, Americanized and trashy. They're kind of all contrived. So on a positive, I am blessed to be surrounded by good, strong Irish women in my life. And I'm more than blessed now than ever. I now have 3 daughters in my life who hopefully will, I suppose, keep me vigilant and keep me on track and keep me on the right path, Dave.
I'm sure they'll all wrap you around their little finger as well, won't they, as they get older?
Yeah, yeah.
But do you know what, Paul? What you're saying there? First of all, I can't believe you're showing such disrespect to all these men giving birth. In the
I
hospital.
know.
I mean, I can't believe that, Paul. But on a serious note, though, you talk about the Danu suite, which is you sent me the photo today and the quote or the passage that you read out there today, and that inspires me with a lot of hope. It's something that's natural. It's something that's
Yeah.
kind of like part of the essence of life, and part of the essence of life is life itself. Where does life come from? It comes from a woman's body, and the woman is the main nurturer of the child. So a
Mm,
celebration of the mother is something that is actually very synonymous and really natural with regard to humanity and our existence. So I love that. And you talked about you're seeing a decrease in the number of kind of like religious symbolisms and
mm,
crosses and things like that.
mm.
Now, my view on that at the moment is that I I actually see this, and we're just going to touch on this very, very, very briefly, and we'll go
Yeah.
back to the more joyous things again very soon. But I see this absolutely disgusting, despicable, evil attempts at hijacking humanity itself, hijacking the human
Mm,
condition, polluting children's minds, mutilating young people's bodies,
yeah.
and sexualizing teenagers and children and all the rest of it. I see it as so anti-human, as so overtly evil that
It
even the
is.
most normie of the normies can see it, Paul. It's so overtly
Mm,
blatant and obvious. There's nothing
mm,
nebulous about it. There's
mm.
nothing
It's
surreptitious about it. There's nothing,
insidious, isn't it?
yeah, and there's nothing that can be in any way construed as being open to interpretation. It is outrightly demonic. And for that reason, Paul, it's being eaten alive from within, because these movements ultimately do always eat themselves
Yeah,
alive from within,
yeah,
because they are possessed by psychopathy,
yeah,
psychopaths,
yeah,
narcissists,
yeah.
Machiavellian characters, and outright probably anti-humans who are with it. It's also being attacked from without it, so being attacked externally as well by society at large. And the one thing that society at large I see that gets absolutely apoplectic with rage about is this notion about there's more than one gender,
Mm.
and all that crap. So Paul, I think that all that is very, very
I,
close to absolutely imploding now.
I,
And I truly believe
I
that.
think so. And I think
Truly
we have
believe
to,
that.
you've hit the nail on the head in a few things there. And as you say, let it implode. Uh, I suppose that's a bit touchy area with the old Titan. We can't say implode, can we?
Oh, yeah,
um, the memes were great, weren't they? The memes were funny, to be fair. God
yeah,
rest their soul and all that. But
yeah.
what was I going to say? But as you say, let natural order and natural law, and let natural law run its course with this absurdity regarding
Well, let
transgenderism
insanity
and
just let
ideology.
insanity run
Let
its course,
insanity,
Paul.
yeah,
Let
let,
pure
yeah,
insanity
yeah,
run
yeah,
its course,
yeah,
because
yeah.
even
The
the
more the push.
yeah, honestly, seriously.
Mm.
So
Well,
I'm actually
yeah,
optimistic. I'm not as
yeah,
optimistic about all the things that we're worried about
yeah.
at the moment, but this aspect of things I am. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and maybe because like in the last few months, I think we've talked about like we did a podcast about the truth movement and about maybe in our own life and my own personal life, I'd be taking a step back from things, and maybe
yeah,
because my family's extending, and as I said, you think about your purpose and your priorities, and you like the good life for me is a simple life, and vice versa. Dave, keeping it
absolutely,
simple. I remember I used to work with
absolutely.
a lovely old psychiatric nurse, lovely old style, and he was a wonderful, caring man. And I could see him with the patients. He was just wonderful with them, and the way he talked to them. But he used to always say to me, Paul, like working on the wards, like in life, just keep it simple.
Yeah,
Don't get too worked up about things. And he kept saying that, kept saying it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And I know with me and Lisa, we count our blessings every day that we have healthy kids, because it is gold. Because we are very self-aware that having 5 healthy kids with all the things that can go wrong with childbirth.
Mhm.
So touch wood, so far we are very grateful, and we do thank God for that. And we just enjoy life's simple pleasures now. I tried, food and drink and nature and good company, etc., and going on holidays. And as you know what to say, don't sweat over the small stuff. I know that's very American-y, but there's a bit of truth in that. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
the famous and it's actually a bit of a gem of a quote or a piece of wisdom. The Serenity Prayer in
yeah,
Alcoholics
yeah.
Anonymous is
In AA,
probably
yeah, absolutely.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I mean, talking about how relevant that is for today's crazy world. I mean, I
Yeah,
kind of look at things. There's
100%.
no point. There's no point in me, Dave. I'm not good to my kids if I'm ruminating and lamenting about past dear old Ireland. Oh, the good old days of Ireland. Oh, we can reflect and look back in a positive light, but me ruminating and lamenting, as I said, about how Ireland used to be a great country back in the day, that only leads to me getting angry and depressed. And on the flip side, there's no point me worrying excessively about what could happen, the what if hypothetical worries. Well, this
Yeah,
could happen and what that could happen. Because as we know, worry is actually a behavior. It's destructive. And it just makes us anxious and disillusioned. So it is kind of going back to that idea of, and maybe that's a stoic mindset of focusing on the here and the now. My reality is I'm talking to you right now. My reality is there's 3 kids literally next door, and there's another little girl fast asleep, and Lisa's about 20 miles in a hospital. My reality is my little inner circle, and I'll tell you something today. Sorry now, I was I did something naughty today. And I promised I wouldn't these few days, but I looked at a Telegram today. I said, "Feck it." I looked at a few I think I'm on 2 Telegram channels. So I've weaned myself off a good few. Anyway, I was looking at Telegram today, and look, as we know, Dave, it's a minefield. Listen to Telegram, and
Oh, I can't stand it.
oh, it's just. I mean, yeah, it's not good for your. There's a bit of mental illness, I think, in Telegram. You know, you're dealing with really sometimes a lot of unhinged people out there. Anyway,
Fanatical people. Yeah.
all fanatics, and we've talked about these fanatic truthers, and they're so just they can be so patronizing. Anyway, I saw it today. There was a few men. I think it was down in Cork, and look, they were, and I've seen them before. And look, they're well intended, but they basically, what can I say? They stormed a library in County. It must have been Cork. They stormed a library that was having a drag story time, and look, I was kind of observing it, and look, they did seem to be agitators, the people who stormed it, the library, and you know there was a bad energy from them. Now, funny enough, just I think I said to you privately about drag story time. It's funny they never do them in nursing homes, but anyway, that's another story. Anyway, it made me
Yeah.
think about these men
It
that
tells
were
you
going,
everything you need to know about their
tell you
intentions.
everything,
That,
yeah.
yeah.
It's always the little kids, always the little
Yeah.
kids that go up. Anyway, it made me think about the lads that went in and they stormed and again they were saying all the things that we discussed before. This is wrong and it's indoctrination. And yeah, I can agree with them up to a point. But then I was thinking, it made me think maybe their energy and their time is best spent, maybe if they have children themselves, reading to their own children, is spending that all the energy focusing
Yeah.
on these freaks and these abusive parents. Maybe their time is best spent, you know, playing a musical instrument with your child, doing some art with your child, spending quality time, going fishing. Because I'll be straight up with you, Dave. Let these abusive parents mind fuck their children. It's none of our business what people do with their children. We can't be saviors, you know. So I kind of got me thinking, yeah, that you know that put your energy rather than putting your energy into this, put into something else, you know. And also, if we, you know, I'm speaking as a parent today, that if I instill in my kids good ethics, good morals, good values, make them streetwise, they're smart. I like to think that, and I don't say this in an arrogant way, that those kids that and those unfortunate innocent kids that are attending drag story time, my kids are just going to tread on them in years to come because they're going to be in another stream of consciousness, my kids compared to their kids. And you know it's survival of the fittest, and I like to think my kids, if we do a half decent job, will be doing okay. And it reminds me of that Bill Hicks joke. Bill Hicks used to say, you know, we're saying revolution, and some people are still stuck on evolution.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that kind of like
You know?
there's a lot of there's a lot of prescience. You've just touched on everything you said there, a lot of different things. You touched on nostalgia in terms of the longing for the past. I think
Yeah,
nostalgia isn't nostalgia unless there's a little bit of the past still in the present. That's
yeah.
how I would look on nostalgia. Because I get nostalgic. And the reason I get nostalgic, and this is a good thing, is
Ah,
because
yeah,
a lot of the past is still with me now. That's why I feel nostalgic. Otherwise, I wouldn't
yeah.
feel nostalgic, Paul. I'd feel removed. I'd
Mm,
feel depleted, and I don't
mm.
feel that. So I hope you don't feel that as well. But you also touched on truth. You touched on education. You touched on concepts to do with the individual as against the collective. You touched on so many things there, but all the different facets of your argument that you brought in there kind of like
Mm,
coalesce and a part of this overall kind of like some would call it a culture war, and there is a culture war.
mm.
Some would call it a very kind of like existential societal crisis, and we've definitely got that. And some would call it kind of like a reckoning that we all need with the cosmos, and what is the cosmos, and what's our relationship with God, like a theological kind of conundrum, really. So everything you've said there was so telling, really, and obviously bringing what you were saying about the upbringing of children into that as well, and you talked about the drag time story hour and all that. It is evil. I can't. It makes me want to vomit in my
Yeah,
mouth. I think if I ever
yeah.
saw it, I think I'll be honest with you, I probably Wouldn't be able to hold my tongue, I'll be honest with you. But in terms of your broader point about the constant bringing to the fore of terrible
Yeah.
things happening, and the obsession with negativity, and the doom mongering that goes on Telegram,
Mm.
and almost not an over, but like an inability to be able to, I don't know, to introspect, number one, to try and be centered and be humble, number two, to try to be balanced, number three, and objective, and to maybe be a bit optimistic. Telegram's the worst place of all. And I thought, Paul, that this would probably be a good point to say in the podcast about well, do you agree with me actually? Because I see it in my country. I think a lot of the customs and traditions, notwithstanding the actual people themselves, have
Mm.
been strengthened in the last few years.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
almost like a plant that gets wind
Mm.
and the cold,
Well,
and it
it,
bears
it,
fruit. It's like, I think sometimes culture needs
yeah.
to be attacked in that way to be able to
It's
withstand and to strengthen and to be abundant again. I mean, what do you think
it's
about that?
it's interesting you say that about because when I was coming home when basically I was told to feck off, give Lisa a rest in the hospital. Look, you know yourself, which is good,
You piss
and
off now, yeah.
yeah,
Just
you
leave her
piss off,
alone, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
You go home and have a Chinese and a pint. She'll be all right.
yeah,
We're looking after
yeah,
her, yeah.
because I rang actually Lisa's father, and he was saying, "Are you on your second pint now, or are you on your third pint now, Paul?" And I was saying, they were the good old days of Ireland when you could do that, when men were able to, wet the baby's head, as to say. But I
Yeah.
think people are more, they're different. We're different now, aren't we? Men, fathers now are, I wouldn't say more responsible, but maybe they're more, I wouldn't say under the whip, but they're
Well, I don't
anyway.
know if I've got any kids, Paul. I probably have,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know any of their names. I'm sorry. But
yeah,
go on,
yeah.
you
Genghis
carry on.
Khan.
Go on.
Yeah, Genghis Khan and all that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
anyway, I was about an hour, and I said to myself, I'll just go into the car, and I don't know why, but I put on into YouTube to put on the Bluetooth in the car, Davy Spillane, the Uilleann Pipes. And I don't know if you ever heard the Uilleann Pipes. They're the most wonderful Irish old instrument, and it's so mystical, and it's music. The sound of it is it's breathtaking. I know it sounds corny, but it gets into your soul.
Can you
And
play a little bit now, Paul, really quickly on the podcast?
we couldn't we?
Yeah,
Could
go
I
on.
play some now?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, yeah, go
And
on.
this is what I was listening to anyway. And it was just, you were talking about nostalgia and about maybe our love of our culture has been. Sorry, now I'll just play this now. Let me see. I've never done this before, actually. Let me see. Oh, wait, now. I'm still. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can hear you, Paul. Yeah.
So yeah, I was listening to this, and wait 1 second.
You still there, Paul?
Can you hear it?
No, we can't hear it now. Can you
Oh,
put it on loudspeaker? Have you got it on
damn it.
loudspeaker on YouTube or whatever you've got it on?
Uh,
Never mind, if not,
Never mind. Yeah.
what's he
Anyway,
saying now? So
Davy
what's it
Spillane.
called? To anyone who's listening, what's it called, Paul?
Just type in Davy Spillane, Uilleann Pipes,
Okay.
but sorry now. Uh, I'll blame the baby brain there. Sorry now. Anyway, yeah.
You know what? You carry on talking. How do I spell it? Yeah, how do I spell it?
Davy
Yeah.
Spillane. Yeah, and it'll be. We could finish out listening to that. It's the one that says "must hear." Anyway, it just gets into your soul, and it kind of brings out all types of emotions, and it brings out a love for my country, Ireland, and our history and our heritage. And it was just nice. It was just lovely poetic music to kind of hear after the birth of Kate.
Is this it? Is that nice, Paul?
I can't hear anything. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah.
Right, I tell you what we're going to do. We will we'll make the recommendation, and I'm going to listen to this after the. Anyway, Paul,
Yeah.
we've got
You
4.5 minutes to go.
you put me on
So
the spot there about putting something in what I said. Come on, Dave. If I just get into the Zoom call and me into it's an active knob, it's a win-win. So come on now. I'll have to do a course to do something.
I suppose she was being a bit unreasonable there, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Can I just have a quick shout out to someone, Paul, on this call, if that's okay?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, to obviously my girlfriend Sarah, how much she has, and I don't want to come across as corny or, lovey-dovey, but genuinely, the most patient and real caring girl, and kind and wise beyond her years. She's a little bit younger than me, Sarah. She's in her early 30s, but she really is wise beyond her years. And she's able to. She's very socially, very, very capable, and very. She puts people at ease, and she's just a. I'm so lucky to have her in my life, Paul, and also Diamond as well. Diamond the dog. I just wanted to say he came into our life last November, and I've always loved dogs. I love dogs. I love all animals, but I didn't know the love that you could have for a dog, Paul. I didn't. He's not a dog to me. He's Diamond, and he's an absolute diamond, and I love him so much. And when the three
Lovely
of
to
us are
hear.
together, honestly, it's only like dog people probably understand this, but when you've got a dog and you know that there's at least one dog in the world that's safe and that feels that he or she can express themselves with all their mischief, and whatever other character traits they've got, and they've got the run of the house, it's beautiful. It really, really, really is. They are the most unconditionally loving creatures, dogs. They will give you absolutely everything. They give you everything. So yeah, for Sarah and for
Lovely
Diamond, I
words.
just wanted
Yeah.
to say as well,
Well, I
if
think
that's okay, Paul. Yeah.
no, it's lovely, lovely words, and I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Sarah and Lisa are Manchester City, and we're a lower league Sunday team. So I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take that.
yeah. We make well, like lower league Sunday team. We make them work hard, don't we? For
Yeah. Yeah. Rough
most of
and
the
ready.
time,
Rough and
but
ready.
they'll always rise to the top, won't they? Yeah.
Rough and
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Paul, we've got a minute and a half. So just for anyone listening, hope you've enjoyed this. We did go off on a couple of tangents as ever, didn't we, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of the podcast,
That's
and
part
yeah,
of
no,
the
I think it
podcast,
was
yeah.
nice, and maybe one day, Kate, when she's on her 18th birthday party,
Yeah.
or when she's 18 or 20, she'll listen back to this and say, Jesus.
And she'll go, do you know what she'll say? She'll go, who's this Diamond? Who's Diamond?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or to
Lovely.
be saying, Jesus,
Yeah.
Daddy, you're such a simpleton. You couldn't put music on a bloody
Yeah, oh, yeah,
podcast.
she'll definitely say that, yeah.
Yeah, like, press the
Oh,
bloody
yeah.
button.
Oh, it's been a great podcast, Paul.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to, right. So what we'll do is we'll go out on a high. So Paul, I'll leave it up to you now. We've got 30 seconds to go. So thanks everyone for listening. Paul, over to you.
well, I'll hark back to that quote, that placard that I saw. If you leave your children a world, I'm just reading it out because it's right beside me. If you leave your children a world where you never stood up, they'll inherit a world where they can't. That's all we can do is
It
fight for our
says it
kids.
all.
It
Says
says
it
it all.
all.
Yeah,
Thanks again, Paul.
we need to remember that.
Congratulations to you, Lisa, baby Kate, and
Thanks.
all the family. Thanks everyone for
Yeah.
listening, and we'll see you all soon.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Paul. Bye bye.